Wingspan is a gorgeously illustrated game with a surprising amount of depth to it. The game just throws so much at you all at once, and trying to discover the viable strategies in the game can often take several playthroughs. If you want some pointers on how to do well in Wingspan, then this is the video for you. If you're looking for more of a how to play style video, then you want to check the link in the description. That video will go over the rules of the game. This is more how to excel at the game, how to do well, what strategies will get you further. My name is PJ, and here is my bite-sized strategy guide for Wingspan. Wingspan is an action efficiency game. What this means is you want to get the most value out of every move you make. Drawing one card sucks, but gaining a bunch of resources and laying a bunch of eggs is way better. Wingspan incentivizes you to really focus on building up one or two areas and using those areas as much as possible. The downside of this is if you say, don't play any birds in the wetlands, how are you going to draw more bird cards? Enter the killdeer. What makes the killdeer so great in Wingspan is that it lets you draw a bunch of cards even if you play it in the plains. Suddenly, you don't have to use the wetlands ever again. The killdeer's ability lets you draw cards without using it. It improves both the value of the lay eggs action and removes the need to ever activate the wetlands. The takeaway is that birds that perform a region's actions while not being in the region itself are insanely valuable. The Chihuahua Raven and Killdeer are two of the best cards in the game because of this. Tip 2 is to avoid cards that benefit your opponents. The Hummingbird cards, at first glance, seem like incredible cards. You can play them anywhere and still get resources from the bird feeder. The downside is that you have to spend an action to get that resource, whereas your opponent gets it for absolutely free, which is a pretty massive downside. You usually don't want to give your opponents free stuff. I would generally recommend you to stay away from cards like the Hummingbird and Canvasback unless you're really desperate to get your engine going. Tip number 3 is to keep cards that will help you build your engine early on. When I say engine, I mean cards that make it easier for you to play more cards in the future. These could improve the amount of resources you get, cards you draw, or eggs you lay. The Chihuahua Raven and the Killdeer are two great examples of cards that help you build your engine. You get a lot of resources from those cards. Early game, I generally recommend that you focus on birds that give you resources from the supply, as these resources tend to be the biggest limiting factor in the early game. But that doesn't mean you should overcommit to building up the forest, because generally it's the plains where you actually win the game. By the end of the third round, you want to set yourself up in a position where you are just laying eggs as much as possible. And filling up the plains can earn you at least 4 victory points with every action. If you couple this with the right bird cards, you will be literally unbeatable. Tip number 4 has to do with identifying these cards. So far we've mostly talked about birds that improve your engine, and you want to get those in the first 2 rounds of the game. Past that, you're going to be looking for cards that net you a lot of points. Cards like the Violent Green Swallow are super consistent for this. As long as you have a spare card in your hand, you get 1 point every time you activate it. Cards that cache resources, and cards that spend resources to tuck cards behind a bird are also really good as well. Predator birds that have you look in the deck can work, though I would recommend avoiding the ones that rely on rolling dice that are not in the bird feeder. You'll find yourself just getting frustrated with how often the roll fails. My last tip for you guys has to do with the end of round goals and bonus cards. They have bonus in the title because you really should be treating them as bonuses and not something that you want to base your entire strategy around, especially early on in the game. It's nice if you can make them work without sabotaging your engine, but if you play a bunch of subpar bird cards to get those bonuses, you'll quickly fall behind your opponents. And there you have it, 5 quick tips to help you do better in Wingspan. Thank you all for watching this video. One thing I want to note before I wrap it up is that these are just guidelines. They're not hard, fast rules. Depending on the hand you're dealt, sometimes a less consistent strategy will actually be the way to go for that game. Down in the comments, let me know any weird builds that you guys have been able to make work, as well as if you have any feedback on any of the tips I gave in this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.